Man, what a letdown. I really thought that Emerald Fennell would put a lot of spice, let's say, into Wuthering Heights. And although the movie is pretty sexual, it doesn't have that biting sort of commentary that Fennell had with Promising Young Woman or Saltburn. This movie is kind of very basic. It's kind of like a twisted Jane Austen novel. And before I went in to go see Wuthering Heights, I really didn't know much about it. I literally found out moments before it started that it was a very famous novel and that there were various adaptations. And this film doesn't work because it stars two characters who are just totally unlikable. And I guess that's the point of the material, but the movie tries to force us to like them in some ways. I mean, and the thing is, the movie starts out really good when we get into the upbringing of Kathy and Heathcliff, yep. Um, and we see how they're both sort of victims of intergenerational trauma. They have a abusive father, or I should say stepfather, especially in Jacob Elordi's or Heathcliff's case. Uh, but the movie does a good job examining that, but Heathcliff turns out to be just such a immeasurably unlikable, cruel jerk that I kind of wish the movie went further with it. Like, if you're gonna make this guy unlikable, go as far as the book did, because according to one of my critic friends, I think in the book he like almost rapes someone or does rape somebody. And if he's that monstrous, then go with that and then show why we would want Kathy to break up with him. Now, the thing is, Kathy, she is kind of like the typical gold digger in the movie. And by that, I mean that she finds a rich man, marries him, and gets away from there. And to be honest, if I was in her situation, I would have done the same thing. Yet she's madly in love with Heathcliff. She can't stop thinking about him. She cries about him all the time, and she cries so much that it gets to the point where one of the servants, played by Hung Chow, who Kathy used to be in her position, and then luckily got married and was no longer there, and then she ends up mistreating her, tells her that she cries too much. And, she ought to shut the fuck up and, grow up and stop whining about this guy. Uh, so there are elements that work in the movie. It kind of does what Sofia Coppola did with Marie Antoinette, where it has a modern soundtrack that's cut to images that obviously aren't from today. But Oh, and also the cinematography is great. I think the performances are really good. Although I thought Jacob Elordi was I didn't. I think he was trying to do a British accent, but he sounded like he had like mothballs in his mouth throughout it. It was weird. But Margot Robbie's fantastic in it. Outside of the fact that like every single fucking scene she's crying in it, and it gets really annoying. It's just like I agreed with Hong Chow. I'm just like, just shut up and, and show a different emotion other than fucking crying all the time. Uh, Outside of that, I wasn't a big fan of it. It was a big disappointment, and it just seems like after a Promising Young Woman, Emerald Fennell hasn't really lived up to that movie. And I really hope she's not a flash in the pan director. Yeah, like Saltburn, I felt was a little uneven, but then again, I saw that movie so long ago, I'd have to see it again. But yeah, if you're thinking, oh, this Wuthering Heights will be amazing, it's not. And it's not bad either. It's just okay, but not okay enough where I can give it a recommendation because it's hard to tell what this movie's going for. Does it want to be a love story? Is it a cautionary tale? I think it has something to say about destructive relationships and where that can lead us, but it doesn't drive a real hard stake through the heart. It just kind of meanders and plays everything a little too safe. And considering this is from the director of Promising Young Woman, you would really wish you would not be so safe. But I feel like maybe the studios stepped in. Maybe they went in and they told Emerald Fennell, hey, this movie is too dark if we put this, and this in from the book. And I know you want to put that in there, but we have to be able to market this as a love story. And that's exactly what Warner Brothers did. And I think that's why the movie fails. It feels more like studio meddling than a fully realized picture. So, with that said, I can really only give this movie, I gave it 2.5 out of 4 Guinnesses. It almost got the 3, but didn't quite get there. You can find my full written review for it at ypareviews.com.